Alright, so I'm trying to platinum over 100 games in a list created by the community. Now, if I can't do this before the channel hits 850,000 subscribers, then I will shave my head bald and look like a base character from a video game. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Alright, so today I chose to platinum Metro Exodus. This is the first of many Metro games inside of their very unique and cool little gaming universe. I can best describe Metro Exodus after platinuming it being essentially just a Russian Fallout game with a sprinkle of Call of Duty campaign added in to sour up the pot a little bit. So Metro Exodus has 50 trophies including the platinum. It takes, from the guide creator's point of view, 45 hours to complete, but that's without using any glitches for the ultra hard mode and with actually enjoying the story a bit. So it took me only 16 hours to do this using the Its Ilusion method, the best of all methods. Stage 1 is to beat the story like usual while also grabbing every collectible you can, going for the good endings, and doing the very few chapter specific trophies throughout. Metro Exodus first opens with a cutscene explaining the world we are in. Long story short, a bunch of nukes and bombs got dropped basically everywhere in the world. And there is essentially now a nuclear winter happening, dragging everyone in Moscow, which is where we are, down underground to the metro. Get it? That's why the game series is called what it is, if you can't tell. But after that, the game then lets us take control with a very seamless cutscene, and Metro Exodus does this whole visual aspect very well in the game. The mechanics and actual gameplay is a bit questionable, but it looks good and has a good story. However, once we took control of our main character, that being a Chad named Artyom, it is officially off to the races, and our job right now is to search for any other survivors or radio transmissions to maybe see if anyone else is alive in the surrounding universe. And we also do get to encounter the first few enemies of the game down on the metro right away. Metro Exodus has a lot of different enemies throughout, most of which look very unusual and typically irradiated things. I actually think these first few enemies right here are what Whoopi Goldberg would probably turn into, but that's just an educated assumption. And like all game intros, this one ends suddenly so the story could actually begin. And it ends with us being almost eaten alive down to near death, getting dragged to the Metro's infirmary, and getting nurtured back to health by the last baddie on Earth. This chick's name is Anya, by the way, and she has my heart. Also, here's her dad. This is awkward. Anyways, after we got healed up, we then went back out into the wasteland with Anya this time. And if you can't guess by now, this is our boy here's job. Just going out to the wasteland and searching for things. But this time, don't worry, we didn't get eaten alive again. We actually just got shot in the chest by some bad people who also stole Anya from us. You know, a bit of a worse outcome, I would say. However, it turns out we are bulletproof, so we crawl out of Satan's grimy claws, and the job is to now save Anya and find out who these bad people are. A few minutes of wandering went by, but then we found the enemy's base and also teamed up with a sort of outcast within their ranks to help us save Anna and stop these people in same succession. So we did exactly that and then interrogated the bad people's leader, who then exposed us to the hard truth of the world. The war never ended. But this is a good thing because this means that there's actually people everywhere, and we might have been stupid to think that the Metro folk were all that was left. That's kind of a cliche guess, let's be real. Anyways, the bad people finally realized we were here, so we had to tussle with them for a hot minute. Also, we stole their train to travel the world and find society elsewhere, so they were a bit more mad than usual. But we did steal their train and then got the homies back home on the train as well. However, before we could continue, or rather begin the real journey of the game, we had to take out the bad people a second train chasing after us. And if you're a gaming lover like myself, you'll know that every game with a massive train crash in it is a damn good game. And this one did indeed have such actions. And it was hype as shit, I won't lie. Before that train exploded though, when I first jumped onto it to explode it, I got a trophy from healing my mask for the first time in the game. And there was also another trophy here on the enemy's train from detaching the entire thing except the main car, which I did do. But that was it, and then the train exploded, which was also a trophy if you didn't know yet. And that was essentially it for chapter 1/2. Sorry for all the story setup, but these first two kind of chapters are sort of dragged out compared to the others. Anyways, the chapter then finished off with a group toast and a trophy pop. In between each major chapter, there's also always an intermission chapter, so to say, which just has us on the train riding for immersion, I assume. But before moving on to the next one, I also did a trophy, however, from me turning this radio's frequency to a music station. How splendid on the good old eardrums. But chapter 4 technically then began once the train got stopped by some very fine people, and it was in a new area named Volga. This is kind of just a desolate, flooded area with not much in it besides rundown buildings and a cult. So it kind of sounds like my hometown. But seriously, this game looks so good, I almost busted nuts. Anyways, I also got a trophy right away in this section from riding a boat for the first time. No clue why this is an award, but I feel so honored. But this chapter's main plot point is we need to cross a bridge that is completely and utterly packed full of enemy people that hate us because we aren't them. So it's a completely valid reason to be honest. This chapter also featured the first open world area of many throughout, and I have mixed opinions on games like this, especially story ones, because you can totally just leave the objective alone and do other stuff, which is what I basically did. But it was all for collectibles and trophies in the chapter, not for my own personal exploration or enjoyment. Again though, this open world aspect of Metro Exodus really hinders its story because it leaves a Modern Warfare 3 campaign taste in my mouth, if any of you poor souls know what I'm talking about. However, this chapter did have a few trophies inside of it, the first I got being from killing a demon with fire actually, and demons in this game are just giant flying creatures that are honestly annoying as hell. But apparently Molotovs are like their weakness, and this one almost died immediately from it with the trophy popping. And much later on, after like an hour of collectible grabbing, I found a teddy bear atop another silo with a demon there, and after grabbing the teddy bear, I got a trophy for that. This is because later on the little girl in the train will ask us to find it, and yeah, that's why it's a trophy, I guess. But seriously, that stupid fucking child should be asking for water or her father back. I don't know why she wants a damn teddy bear so bad. Anyways, my next trophy wasn't a collectible, thank God, but instead from spending 500 consumables on crafting. This game's crafting, by the way, is very simple, so don't go soft on me now. Anyways, we are now nearing the end of the chapter, however, and I made it to this sort of train stopping grounds that was completely overrun with enemies and gross things inside of it. One of which was a giant ass catfish that we had to kill, or rather were supposed to kill. And getting rid of it was very simple, requiring us to just lure it into the water below a bunch of debris and then shoving the debris onto it for this trophy pop. I then entered this little train that was inside the warehouse we are in, and after activating it, I got a trophy. I then had to drive this back to the main train because we need it for extra space or something stupid like that. But on the way, we ran into a blockade that had another train in it that the bad guys were hiding. So I had to, in usual succession, just rid them all of life and then do even more stealing. It's no wonder these people hate us, damn. But they shot first if any lawyers are watching. After dealing with them, I then connected that tiny train car to the big one and got another trophy. We then, of course, brought that back to the team because bigger trains equal bigger success, I guess. It was then the ending of this chapter, and it was kind of boring because we had to stealth it all to not anger the people even more. So not many fun things really happened until we reached the cult leader, being this guy right here. Cult of the receding hairlines, I guess. Anyways, he told his boys not to shoot us in return for us not exterminating them also. They raised the infamous bridge up and our train was on the way. I also got 2 trophies, first for saving Duke, who was needed for the good ending, and for finishing the chapter off, obviously. There was in this chapter next which had us quote-unquote contacting the command of our people or some BS, but it turns out they were lying on the radio and we actually just walked into a giant cannibal camp. Yeah, all these people here eat people. It's rad. And this whole section of the game had us trying to just desperately escape the place while also taking out as many cannibals as possible, and I got a trophy once I killed 90 of them. I don't know how so many are still alive, that's actually insane. But this mess ends with us riding away in the train, obviously, and I swear to God, this almost looks like a zombie game cutscene, to be honest. The team then had a meeting about how dumb we are, and I got a trophy for finishing that section of the game. It's now chapter 6, which is in a place called Caspian, and this is probably my favorite chapter of the game because it's just vibes. But it's in this desert kind of area, and the whole plot had us trying to again kind of just escape and also steal supplies from the people who live here. Now before more lore, I got a trophy for riding in the car given to us for this chapter, being named the Bukanka. That's gotta be a racial slur. Anyways, more lore about this chapter is that the people here aren't cannibals as far as I know, but they are actually just slaves slash slave owners. It's this is what the apocalypse does to a motherfucker. But you're also supposed to pretty much just not kill anyone this entire chapter to help get the good ending, and I definitely failed that, which will bite me in the ass later a lot. Before that though, I got a trophy called Dressed for Success for finding all these suit upgrades in the game. And I honestly only ever changed my upgrades like once because most of them are kind of stupid. But eventually the story led us underground into this scientific station, and I found this map that was down here, and it's a giant map of the surrounding area and very helpful to us because we were on a big old road trip, of course. Oh yeah, I also got a trophy after picking it up. There was then another story trophy a bit after that when I was sneaking through the water facility here, and it's from riding the water buckets all the way up to the upper level. Upon doing it sneakily and grabbing the bucket, you get the trophy. Anyways, in this same spot we were tasked with stealing water because the team needs it since we are all about to die from dehydration out here. But after stealing a ton of water, the enemies also sent a lot of people after us, and we had a massive fight that was very swag. But because we have now stolen valuables from the evil people and killed a lot of their men, the game game then had us confront the evil leader named the Baron. And the Baron was a fan of mind games, so he just invited me to come into his lair peacefully. Now after walking past his foot soldiers that I probably killed brothers of, we end up getting closer to his quarters naturally. And I gotta say, I might have misjudged the man. This place looks awesome. I could spend all day here. I'm kidding. This is disgusting. My mother watches these videos sometimes. I don't know why. But yeah, as you could imagine, the Baron tricked us into coming up here just so he could send a ton of enemies at us. It failed, of course. And then we took him out with a crisp headshot sniper kill from Anna off in the distance. We then ziplined away to safety for the ending of the chapter, and if this dude named Demir comes with us, we have succeeded in getting the good ending for the chapter. He does not. Fuck my life. But here's that dumb chapter trophy anyway. So yeah, I had to go replay that entire chapter, but doing things better in terms of not mass murdering people. And once I reached the end again, after another hour to 2 hours of playthrough of it, Demir did follow us thankfully. And here's the trophy from that, basically securing us the good ending of the game. It's now the spring or summer intermission chapter, I can't remember, but there was a trophy again from the team just cheering to everyone being alive. Psych, Anna isn't doing too hot. Yeah, she needs some medical help, but a future chapter will have a lot of that, so we will touch on that again. Anyways, we then made it to a new stop in the game, but it was rather not voluntarily because we crashed quite brutally into a river and lost everything. So this chapter is kind of a starting over chapter in terms of equipment, but there's also a trophy for doing the entire thing without being seen or attacking anyone, meaning you have to stealth through it all. It's very boring. But right away in the beginning, I got a trophy for vandalizing this dumbass statue, so that's kind of hype. And yeah, this chapter's fun then began with us crouch walking around for an hour straight, which is kind of sad because this chapter is probably set in the most pretty place of the game, the forest. However, when you crouch walk the entire time in the dark, it's very dry like your mother, and the most interesting thing to happen was a tea party with a radiation infested schizophrenic named the Admiral. This is pretty much just World of T-shirts in 2070. And you had to deadass sit here for over 10 minutes just listening to him yap and occasionally doing an action like sipping tea for a trophy from enduring the tea party with a mentally ill man. Oh yeah, and then this chapter thankfully had a fun ending with us battling a giant bear, so that's cool. And it was also kind of hard. I kept on dying and getting this death animation, which I thought meant I was dead, so I hard reset over and over and over during this fight until getting mad enough that I wanted to watch myself die. And it turns out that this actually meant I was winning the fight the whole time and it was supposed to happen. What is my life, bro? Also, since we killed nobody the whole time, we got the good ending once more, and this dude came with us also on the zipline to safety. I then got a trophy for that, by the way, back on the train, and 2 more once the chapter wrapped up for doing the chapter completely stealth and finishing it in general. We then made it to the final chapter of the game called Dead City, and this chapter had us searching for a very specific medicine to help Anna since her condition has only worsened since we last saw her coughing up blood at dinner time. And before anything major happened, I got a trophy from killing my 300th mutant enemy in the game right here. This place, by the way, is called Dead City because the radiation is so bad that everything is basically dead here, or mutated. And judging by this tunnel in the sewers, it's safe to say that nobody is safe from the mutations. How the f does this even happen? But after I rode through that disgusting crevice, I got another trophy. Anyways, at the ending of the chapter, I made it to where the medicine is supposed to be, and there's also these giant gorilla looking enemies called blind ones who are blind, but also you can't kill any because there's a trophy from not killing any of them. So I did it and then just traveled around them while I also lost my mind from the radiation until finding the medicine and doing some final quick time events to fend off the blind one's attack, before the chapter basically ended with the trophy from not killing any blind ones previously. We then just drove back to the train and RTM was doing fine until the sickness got the best of us, and this is the ending of the game. But since I got the good ending, RTM does not die, however Miller does, who is Anna's father. And he is the only one to die, by the way. So then the whole crew found a nice place to bury him and he got a good farewell, with 2 trophies popping to end off the good ending playthrough. So now it's time for stage 2, which is the hardcore mode playthrough. But you can thankfully cheese this with the classic method a few other games I've played have, where you just play the initial mission on hardcore, back out, and then reload the finish game save, and it for some reason works. That was a very bad explanation, but this video is perfect for it. And doing this also gives you the bad ending, which had more people die, including yourself. So here is both of those trophies once it worked. Again, I don't know why, but it does. Alright, now it's time for stage 3, which is, as you could guess, the miscellaneous trophy cleanup. And my first goal was going back to that chapter we had to do stealth on and picking up some collectibles I missed, because I did miss a few here and there due to the stealthing going on. Before finding them, however, I got my 50th melee or stun kill right here for a combat trophy, and then I did get the last diary I needed to for that very annoying collectible trophy right here. Oh yeah, and while on this chapter, I played it all the way through to the first bear boss fight at the church, and previously we just ran away from it because it's a mutated bear. And the only thing scarier than that is Caitlin Clark's bush. Hey yo! But if you actually battle it and do enough damage, it will run away crying, giving you this trophy pop. And my last collectible I missed was then back on the Dead City chapter, but it was right away, and I honestly have no clue how I missed missed this, the game is just trash, I guess. Alright, so that's all the collectibles done. Basically, every trophy now is just some odds and ends combat ones. Starting off with a trophy from getting 30 kills with the T-Car, which is this air pressure gun. And I was actually checking something on my PS5 when I got it, so that's why I immediately interacted with it on accident. My apologies. And then I actually got a trophy a bit later in this chapter's replaythrough from getting a kill with every type of ranged weapon in the game. And thankfully, the one single gun I hadn't used was just this semi-auto rifle that kind of made me excited below the waist. I then got a trophy from running over 50 enemies with the car on the desert chapter, which is glorious. And then a trophy from using the gas mask, night vision goggles, and sniper scope all at once, with then getting 3 kills as well. The true ADHD experience. I was also then farming 50 long range kills on top of this crane, by the way, because it's the best place in the game to do so. But at some point I got bored of that, so I then messed around in my backpack and reorganized the guns so many times that the game eventually gave me a trophy from equipping a mod on every possible slot within a single gun. In a few minutes after that, I did reach 50 long range kills, so that's cool. The next trophy I did was Sally, another save reload trophy, but this time from no combat. Instead, from cleaning my guns and using 500 chemicals total to do so. Now that's what I call a throw-in feature. Next, I'll be adding in a shower trophy to keep yourself clean in the game to optimize abilities. Someone sure could use a shower here. Anyways, that was basically it for the trophies in this game, seeing as I only have a few left. Sadly though, the next trophy I went after was kind of bugged, but it's from depleting all of your gas mask air filters and then making a new one while you're dying. But it fails to mention this has to be done in story areas only. And it will not work ever if not done in the correct areas of the game. So don't be like me and spend an hour straight trying this method over and over in a random place on the map. Instead, just play the intro of the Dead City chapter until you and Miller get out of the car and begin walking into the metro. Then just sit still and let the filter die out, make a new one, and the trophy should pop. Anyways, my final 2 trophies are both very straightforward. First was just to get 30 kills with the crossbow, which I did on the level that you get given the crossbow because it actually has a ton of enemies on it to kill with it. So here's that trophy. But then I had to get 300 kills on human enemies. But again, this chapter has a ton of humans on it, so you know what to do with that. So I just farmed kills for about 30 minutes, maybe reloading this quick save at the first major camp of theirs. And once I finally got 300 human kills, I got that trophy and the platinum trophy pop added on. So that was the Metro Exodus platinum trophy experience. Overall, it's a pretty good game. My only complaints about it are the gameplay. Honestly, the gameplay was so rough at sometimes, especially with all the climbing and running, which are, kind of core things to have. But then again, that also is just the style of the game. It's a lot like how the Fallout games feel in my opinion, and that's okay because the story slapped. It looked gorgeous and it ran very well. Rating Metro Exodus out of 10, I'll give it a solid 7. And yeah, that's it. More videos soon, and this is to Anna's voice actor. I am single. Hit a brother up.